My mother-in-law and I were not particularly close. In fact, one could say that we quietly disliked each other. Our relationship was like a truce between two opposing forces on the verge of conflict. Both sides knew each other's strengths, were prepared, but neither wanted to be the first to launch an attack. Early in my marriage to my wife, my mother-in-law began interfering in our lives uninvited. I had to get into several altercations with her to assert my right to privacy in my own home. From that point on, she seemed to have me on her enemies list, and we began to live as if each other didn't exist. In her 47 years, Evelyn was still strikingly beautiful. One might even say she was an attractive woman. She had been dating a man for a long time, and from time to time, they would have dramatic fights only to reconcile later. Their reconciliations were always passionate, starting with apologies and quickly escalating into heated altercations that were loud enough to be heard from the next room. Sometimes they were so intense that I wondered if her lover was causing her some kind of strange torment. There were strange moments in our relationship with Evelyn. Once, when I was in the shower with my eyes closed, enjoying the warm water, I heard a woman's startled sigh. When I opened my eyes, I saw her standing in front of me, wearing only a t-shirt, looking at me shocked. Her eyes, wide open and focused on me, made me suddenly realize how little there was between us. I couldn't help but notice her well-built figure, and the thought occurred to me that perhaps I wouldn't mind taking her lover's place, considering how often he fought with such a beautiful woman. Those thoughts stirred something in me, and there must have been some expression in my eyes, because Evelyn caught it. With a sharp hiss of vulgar, she sprinted out of the bathroom, but not before giving me a parting glance at her impeccably shapely figure. Although the whole episode lasted only a few seconds, it left an indelible mark on my memory. Even when I saw her later, fully clothed, I couldn't stop seeing her as I did at that moment. One day, sitting at the computer, I overheard one of her typical loud arguments with her lover. But this time, the argument turned into a fight. I heard the unmistakable sound of a slap, followed by the thud of a body falling to the floor. Instinctively, I rushed to her room. Within seconds, I had her lover on the floor with one blow, and soon I had dragged him out of the apartment and kicked him down the stairs. I warned him not to come back, or I would break every bone in his body. When I returned to Evelyn's room, she was still lying on the floor, pale, with a rapidly swelling black eye. Carefully, I lifted her onto the bed. She wasn't breathing well, so I put my ear to her chest and heard the faint pounding of her heart. I stroked her cheeks, and eventually she opened her eyes, though her gaze was still detached and cloudy. "Nick, why did he do this to me?" she asked in a strained voice. "Evelyn, how are you feeling?" I asked, adjusting the dress that had pulled up her legs. "I feel awful, Nick. My head is splitting." "I'll get you a cold compress. It'll help." I quickly pulled out a towel, dampened it with cold water, and gently placed it on her forehead. She sighed in relief, squeezing my hand briefly in gratitude. "You're so kind, Nick. I thought you didn't like me. I was wrong about you, just like I was wrong about him." "Why did he hit you so hard?" "He was jealous of me. Can you imagine?" "What a fool." She smiled weakly. "What did you do to him?" "I threw him down the stairs." "He's not coming back again." "You did the right thing." She paused and blushed slightly. "My back hurts terribly." "Would you mind taking a look?" I carefully helped her roll over and lifted the hem of her dress, revealing a huge bruise along her lower back, just where her spine connects to her hip bone. She must have fallen hard or been kicked. It looks bad, Evelyn. I'll put some lotion on it, but it will hurt for a while. I applied a bandage soaked in alcohol from the first aid kit to the bruise, and she flinched slightly, then sighed in relief. "Nick, your hands are so gentle," she murmured. "I feel so much better." Gently massaging my back, Evelyn turned to face me and pulled me toward her. I didn't resist. I'd often imagined this in my secret thoughts. When our moments were over, she dozed off. I quietly left the room, making sure she was comfortable, and returned to my personal space. The next morning, when my wife left for work, Evelyn came into my bedroom. "Nick, why did everything happen last night?" "Evelyn, we've gotten closer than we ever thought possible, and I intervened when your lover let you down. But Nick, you're my son-in-law. We can't. It doesn't matter. You're an amazing woman, and I'm just a man. We shouldn't be resisting something so natural." 9 months later, Evelyn gave birth to a son, much to the surprise of everyone, especially my wife. She never found out who the father of her new baby brother was. That secret remained buried within the walls of our home.